Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is No Soundbites Allowed, and I am your host, Michael Voss, Dragon in the Southern Tier. I'm happy to be here with you today. It is August 25th, a Thursday, and I want to address something that I think is important. We're talking about censorship. We're talking about social media control over your choices, treating you as just a checkbox rather than as an individual, and destroying the lives of content creators. It's a big subject, and it's important for each and every one of us. Whether you watch videos or whether you create them, I think it's worth talking about. And we have some proof to share with you to show you how they are controlling what you get to see and what you get to hear. If this is the first time that you're seeing our channel, we want to welcome you and thank you for being part of our audience. We do long-form political commentary. And every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a live stream with you. We reach out on all the social media that the internet overlords will allow to hear your voice, to hear what you have to say about the issues that are affecting us all from anywhere in the world. Because we believe in the First Amendment. We believe in your right to free speech, even if you aren't an American. Everyone has the right to speak and be heard. And we want you to do that with us every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope you will join us. So let's talk about the issue today, which is a big deal. When we talk about censorship, many people wonder what we're talking about because on YouTube, there's millions, 50 million content creators. There's about 1 billion hours of content that is watched every single day. When you go to Google, you can search so many different things. You can go onto Twitter and talk about so many different comments. And people say, well, there isn't censorship, but yet there is. And the sad thing is, the censorship that is happening is controlling what you hear and therefore what you think. Because if you don't know about a subject, well, then you can't consider it. You are denied the opportunity. You are denied choice and freedom. And that's what we see happening on a regular basis. And many content creators are facing that right now. And as we will show in a little bit, that we have proof that YouTube is actively censoring your content and denying creators the opportunity to reach you, to let you make a choice about what you want, rather than what they determined is approved or not. So let me show you what I mean. We always like to look at how we got to this point. When we say that there's censorship that is going on right now, we're not kidding. Looking at 2019, there was a United States Senate Judiciary hearing. And in that hearing, Dr. Robert Epstein had his testimony, which was why Google poses a serious threat to democracy and how to end that threat. Now, he says in his opening statement, I am here today for 3 reasons. To explain why Google presents a serious threat to democracy and human autonomy. This is what censorship does. It endangers your autonomy. It turns you into a robot because you don't have other choices. This is the only path you can take because it has been predetermined for you. It is treating you like an object, not a human being. He goes on to say, to explain how passive monitoring systems can protect us both now and in the future from companies like Google, but not exclusively only at Google, and to tell you how Congress can immediately end Google's worldwide monopoly on search. I think this is important because we have to understand this is a monopoly on thought. It is denying you the opportunity to have information and to make decisions for your life about that. Whether it's mask mandates, whether it's entertainment, whether it's about politics or science, it doesn't matter. If you don't have access to that information that is available, that does exist, then you are no more than a serf, a peon. You have no choice. You are a robot or a mouse on a treadmill. And that's dangerous. That's not what democracy is about. Democracy is about making choices based on the information that you have, the best choice for yourself. Now, it's not just Google that's doing this. We also see more recently what the Twitter whistleblower disclosure means for Elon Musk. This is coming from Time magazine, and it was published on August 23rd. And we see that in the article they mention Musk has said for months that Twitter misled investors about the platform's financial health, including the proportion of spam bots on the site. The allegations about bots by Zatko, a well-known cybersecurity expert who joined Twitter in November of 2020, seems to support Musk's claim that disclosures obtained by Time alleges that Twitter executives deprioritized getting an accurate count of spam bots, in part because the truth may not look good to advertisers. Now, this is important to you, both as an audience, as a creator, in many ways, because you are being denied access to people. The more spam that is out there, the more spam bots that are there, pushing a agenda, a political agenda in particular, telling you there is only one path, that there is only one choice, well then every other voice gets drowned out. They are isolated and thrown to the wayside. They are blocked from being able to reach people to make the best choice. Now, whether that's a candidate running for an office, whether that is someone with a product that may or may not help your life, or whether that's someone making a comment about laws and legislation that will affect you every single day of your life, it doesn't matter. If those spam bots are drowning out any unapproved voice, then you are in a dictatorship. It is a dictatorship of your mind. And that is dangerous. Yes, it affects Twitter in terms of its economy and how it makes money, whether or not advertisers are able to get paid properly, because spam bots don't actually buy products, but it also affects you in what you know and what you can say and do. And that is not a democracy. Again, that is a dictatorship. But it's not isolated just to Google and Twitter. There's YouTube, which is the focus of this video. And I want to address what they have said in 2020. See, we don't hear a lot about YouTube. And part of that is because what we have seen is that Ars Technica in February of 2020 said researchers have already tested YouTube's algorithms for political bias. Oh, that's interesting, because that's something that's important. That's been in front of Congress. And they say that the data does not prove that there is political bias on YouTube, which means you're able to hear voices freely. But that's not true. You see, they say, motivated by the long-running argument in Washington, D.C., computer scientists at Northeastern University decided to investigate political bias on YouTube's comment moderation. Not their videos that are out, not the way that people are able to access the videos and thus make a comment, but the comment moderation itself. The team analyzed 84,068 comments on 258 YouTube videos. Let's stop right there. There are millions of videos that are seen every day. There are 50 million content creators on YouTube. They make tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of videos every single day. Billions of hours are spent watching this. And they're looking at 256 YouTube videos? That isn't even a sliver of a sliver. That isn't even a fraction of the content that is available on any given hour on YouTube. And they looked at 84,000 comments. Is that it? So think about it. 84,000 comments. That's ridiculous. How about this? Take a look at The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power by Amazon. 11.6 million people have seen this video. And if you look at the comments, there are 28,366 comments on that one video alone. How about this? Looking at the She-Hulk trailer. You may recall that. That has been seen 23.1 million times. And there are 39,247 comments. By the way, we've seen that many of these comments have been deleted by Marvel or by Amazon, and there has been censorship on that. But not even counting that censorship of deleting certain comments, hiding some of the views from the public, what has remained between just two videos, 60,000 comments. How is that supposed to be an accurate representation of anything? It doesn't. It isn't. It's not realistic. But they go on to say, at first glance, the team found that comments on right-leaning videos seemed more heavily moderated than those on left-leaning ones. But when researchers also accounted for the factors such as the prevalence of hate speech and misinformation, they found no differences between comment moderation on the right and the left-leaning videos. Well, here's a real interesting question. What's misinformation? It's a big question. What is misinformation in an era where we hear that everyone has their personal truth? Every truth is a relative term, not a fact. What is misinformation when we hear that you're not able to speak about things? Think about the mask mandates and the ban on being able to comment on masks, no matter what you thought about it. The changes in definitions of words like what is a vaccine? How about the changes in the definition of what is a man and what is a woman? And the answer is, what is a man? The opposite of a woman. What is a woman? The opposite of a man. That's circular logic, but that's the definition. How do you determine what is misinformation when you don't actually have definitions and meanings and facts? When everyone's going along with the logic from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that being empirically, semantically correct is not as important as having a feeling. What's misinformation? How about this? What is hate speech? Let's take a look at that really quick. According to the UN, the United Nations on hate speech, they define hate speech as, quote, in common language, hate speech loosely refers to offensive discourse targeting a group or an individual based on inherent characteristics such as race, religion, or gender that may threaten social peace. So let's get this right. Loose, their definition is a loose definition. It is a relative definition. It is not an actual definition because it is not a hard definition. And they look at referring to offensive discourse. Well, what is offensive? Offensive is subjective. It is relative to you and to me. It changes person by person. Now, when you look at that, you say, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. They actually admit that. The UN says, under international human rights law, there is no universal definition of hate speech. There is no definition. It is an undefined term. And they go on to say, as the concept is still widely disputed, especially in regards to its relation to freedom of opinion and expression, non-discrimination, and equality. There is no definition. So when you hear that Ars Technica, when Northeast University are saying that they are trying to eliminate or adjust for hate speech and misinformation, these are things that make no sense. These are subjective. And they're looking at a sample that is maybe the size of one video. And they're trying to say that there is no political censorship that exists. There is no silencing of voices. There is no training or confining of creators and what they can make for you, the audience. It's laughable when we see these things. Just think about all of the commentary, the reviews of She-Hulk, and that people are saying that if you review She-Hulk and you say that it is a bad show because the plot is bad, because the CGI is bad, because the character has been reimagined from its classical roots in the comic books, if you say that it's bad for any of those factors, well, now you are seeing that the major media are saying, well, then you're a racist, you're a sexist, that you are an ist and a phobe, and your opinion does not matter anymore. Now, let me get to the core of what we're talking about today. which is the censorship we are seeing in the shorts and how people have been silenced, how you have been denied the opportunity to make choices. You see, YouTube wants to be TikTok because TikTok is popular today. So they're going on the latest fad. And they have pushed out a change in YouTube to all of the content creators. All content creators must include YouTube Shorts in their channel, whether or not that makes sense for the channel itself. And they have to do live streams, whether or not that makes sense for the content that they put out. They must do that, or YouTube will lower their rankings and deny you access, you the customer, you the viewer. They will deny access to any of the content on that channel because YouTube decided that's what they want. So creativity is gone. Whether it's relevant or not, whether it makes sense or not for you, the audience, whether it makes sense for the creator or not, they don't care. You're going to follow their program or else. That is censorship. That is a creative dictatorship. And even in that, they decided that they needed to be even more authoritative, that they had to silence any creative thought even more than just making sure that everyone has to do programs they want, that YouTube wants to see. And we see this in this evidence right here. Now, this is Nick Nimmin. He does a program talking to YouTube creators about the content and the changes in YouTube. And he's speaking about the YouTube Shorts that every creator must now create. They must make these videos or else they will have their rankings affected throughout all of YouTube, denying the public the opportunity to see content that they want. So he says this is the change that happened.
In his tweet, as he says, at VidCon, I spoke about YouTube building a bridge to better connect shorts to long-form discovery. And we've talked in previous episodes about some of the things that they're doing to do that, but check this out. He says, today, the first lane on that bridge opened. Recommendations now consider recent long-form videos from channels the viewers watch in shorts.
And what they did initially is they just put that out, but it did not help any content creators. No matter how popular your short was, you weren't able to make any money off of that. So YouTube said, hey, this is interesting, but when we let the public make their own choice about these YouTube shorts that they were showing everyone without censorship, that people were able to look at any subject that they wanted to, well, then people made choices YouTube didn't like. I'm going to show you what I mean. Let me show you the proof. So these are our YouTube shorts, and the JRES break. We did this because YouTube required it. Otherwise, our channel would not be able to be seen by anyone. And John Mastusha has done a great job in making these shorts. And as you can see, he was consistently getting several hundred, and it was growing. The audience that he was receiving under the YouTube shorts before they got changed, he was getting a larger and larger audience more and more consistently. More people were able to see the political shorts that he was doing, and they were able to watch them and make comments on them, whether they liked them or not, whether they agreed or not. They were interacting with the channel, they were interacting with John and the shorts, they were having their voices be heard, and they were able to make a choice about what they wanted to see. YouTube, as Mr. Nimmin just mentioned, decided that wasn't good enough because too many people were seeing voices they did not approve of. They were hearing content that did not support a political ideology, and therefore they had to nerf that. They had to make sure that if someone had a political ideology that might be conservative, that might be Republican, that might question the progressive and democratic ideology, the message coming from the White House, that if it was something that wasn't approved of, it had to be silenced. And what you see below at the bottom here is the new changes that were made. That once we had this new algorithm, the nerfing of the YouTube content on shorts, they were able to silence the voice. The JRES break, that was getting hundreds, if not thousands of views every day suddenly were dropped. And now they're getting dozens because YouTube said conservative thought is not welcome on YouTube. That's a big deal. Conservatives are not welcome. Their voices are not welcome on this. You are not allowed to hear a different voice. Maybe there's a good argument. Maybe there's a way to make a law better. Maybe. You aren't allowed to hear that. You aren't allowed to question what the news media is putting out, which is left-leaning. You're not allowed to question the political, the leadership of the Progressive and Democratic Party. You aren't allowed to have a voice. You are a robot. You are a serf. You are supposed to just approve and obey whatever social media and this leadership tells you to approve. That's it. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you like it or not, you must obey. That's what they have said, and that's what they have put on display. And we have the numbers consistently from August 7th going to August 23rd on these videos, these shorts, before they were nerfed at the top. And on the bottom, you can see after they were nerfed, how that change has affected them. They took away the audience. Now, you may say, Mike, I'm not sure that's the correct audience. I want to show you the numbers then. This is the audience outreach before YouTube came in and nerfed the videos. And what you can see, and what's important here, the most important thing, that the audience that was able to access the political videos, 98% of the people who were able to see these videos were people who had never seen our channel before. These are voices, these are individuals who didn't know the content was available, didn't know that there was a commentary out there that they could access. 98% of the people watching the shorts over and over again were brand new people to the brand new audience who were watching the show. And some of them did in fact decide to subscribe. Well, after the shorts, what we saw, only 42% of people who have never seen the channel before were ever shown the videos. Literally, YouTube cut in half the potential audience for our shorts and our videos. They cut this in half because they didn't like that people were paying attention and enjoying the videos that they were seeing. That people were interested, whether they agreed or not, with the political voice that wasn't an approved message. The numbers are in front of you. We went from 98% of a wide public audience with thousands of people every day and a growing audience following the JRES break to dozens. Because they don't want you to see this. Because they don't want you to hear this. Because they are telling each and every YouTube creator out there, if you do not follow the approved message, if you don't have an approved ideology, you will be punished. That is censorship. That is a creative dictatorship. It is authoritarian. Because when you are denied the ability to express yourself, when you are denied the ability to speak, whether it's in creating the content or commenting on that content, then you are no more than a slave. And that's what YouTube wants you to be, a slave. They do not want you to hear voices that might differ from what they like. That is slavery. And that is what YouTube has done. They nerfed the shorts to be able to control what you hear, what you see, and what you can say. If you disagree with that, we ask you, like, share, subscribe. Join us every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let us know what you think. But we think this is the evidence that shows definitively YouTube didn't just nerf the shorts. They made sure to punish every voice that did not follow their approved messaging. They want you to be a slave. We disagree. I know you've heard it before. What difference does it? You make the difference. when you watch, chat, tweets, your likes and shares, and your subscription, you make the difference. From across the world, you help us to keep the lights on and the stream alive. You are making the difference to fight the woke and the crazy legislation that we see before. We at No Soundbites Allowed, and I want to thank you for everything that you do in helping us reach our goal, and your likes, your tweets, your comments, and your subscriptions to the channel. We want to thank you from the bottom of our heart. And this is a special thank you to those who have donated to the channel and helped us in all of our efforts. We will strive to make this channel the best that we possibly can, because you deserve no less. Thank you.